I honestly have no clue why these common gallinules are fighting like this. Probably territory. This damselfly right here is called the southern sprite, as it is common through much of the southeastern United States. However, in southeast Florida, it is heavily outnumbered by the more common Everglades sprite, which is a South Florida specialty. So even though out of the two species it is the more common worldwide, in South Florida, southern sprite is actually nowhere as much of a common species to come across. Its color patterning is very distinctive, with dark green on the top half of the thorax and a pale color on the belly side of the thorax. In females like this one, that pale color would be a pale yellowish off-white. In males it would be very pale blue, but both sexes have a blue dot on the end of the tail. While it is an invasive species, the blue tilapia is still one of Florida's most interesting looking fish. This individual is actually one of the largest blue tilapias I've ever seen, and it is exhibiting a strange feeding behavior of actually lifting its head above the water to eat plants and algae that are located above the surface. These angles also give you a great view of that distinctive beak-like mouth that most cichlids have, as tilapias are larger members of the cichlid family. Speaking about cichlids, this tricolored heron right here is eating a Letornuxes jewel cichlid, which is another invasive species, much smaller than the blue tilapia, but it also has many awesome color patternings like those blue spots and a reddish colored head. I'm glad to see them get eaten though, since they aren't a native fish. This shot right here actually gives a nice comparison of Florida's two most common cooter species, the Florida red-bellied cooter and the peninsula cooter. They're best told apart by the patterning on their shells. This Florida softshell right here is a very large adult, showing some of the strange anatomical characteristics that Florida softshells have, such as the smooth shell, their flattened out and heavily webbed feet, and most distinctively that snorkel-like tube-shaped nose. Right here is a breeding pair of one of North America's most recognizable and beautiful duck species, the wood duck, while the male, which is the individual on the right, is completely unmistakable for anything else. The female, despite her drab coloration, still has a very distinctive pattern, and both sexes have that distinctive crest on the top of their head, as well as sharing their habit of perching on trees, sometimes low to the ground like this log, but sometimes high up in trees as well, where they have been known to nest in tree cavities. This right here is a pair of red-shouldered hawks, and from this side angle you can see why they're called that, as they have a reddish colored patch on their shoulder. The reddish color continues onto the belly though, although it is paler on the belly and a lot brighter on the shoulder area. This anhinga right here is eating some sort of sunfish, and while the lighting was bad and I couldn't tell exactly what species, my guess is probably it was a red-eared sunfish. This right here is the American bittern, the much larger cousin of the similar but much smaller least bittern. Despite its large size, it is still one of the most elusive and hardest to find heron species in Florida, due to that perfect camouflage. While this individual didn't call for us, its call is very strange and distinctive, sounding like a low-pitched, loud, gulping sound. The largest woodpecker species in all of North America is right in this camera shot, the pileated woodpecker, named after that large crest on the head. The size, the crest, and that distinctive all-black body with the white striping on the face makes this a very distinctive species. From this angle right here, it's a lot clearer and you can tell that this is a female due to the black malar stripe as well as the crest red color stopping before the forehead. This is the bird that you heard calling all throughout the pileated woodpecker clip, the Carolina wren. Even though each individual has a completely different sounding song, they all have a similar repetitive structure that makes it easy to identify Carolina wrens by ear. Carolina wrens are also a pretty easy species to identify by sight once you finally see one, although most of the time you'll definitely hear it first. That clean white supercilium, or the line running above the eye, combined with that orange color on the belly, make it a very distinctive looking species of wren, a lot larger than also some of the other wren species we get in Florida. This American alligator right here finally got its meal, and thankfully this fish is an invasive species, the sailfin catfish. Those are known for their bony scales, and the crunching this alligator put on those bony scales was pretty loud. Now that he's done, he won't have to eat for a few days, maybe even a week.